Something urgent and unexpected has just surfaced. The very people who tried to undermine you have received a jaw-dropping message that changes everything. They underestimated your calling and your resilience, never dreaming you'd rise so powerfully. This shift is beyond logic. It's a direct sign that you, as a chosen one, have become a force they can no longer deny. Now watch at least 12 minutes to confirm you're open, then like this message, subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments so the universe sees you're ready. In your own natural tone, leave another comment. Ready for what's next? To invite a surge of fresh blessings and unstoppable transformation? Chapter 1, you stepped out of their shadows and shocked them all. You sensed their disbelief long before anyone said a word. You felt their gazes, half mocking, half puzzled. Is this person really going to step out of the usual script we assigned them? For the longest time, you kept your head low, maybe out of old loyalty or out of fear that rocking the boat would isolate you. But a stirring in your spirit wouldn't relent. You suspected you were meant for more, not content with the shallow comfort of a predictable fate. One day, that suspicion turned into conviction. You decided to rise. At first, you tried to do it quietly. No big announcement, just small changes. Maybe you cut off that one manipulative friend or left a draining environment, all while telling yourself, maybe they won't notice. But they did. They always notice when chosen ones break away from the orchestrated illusions. The watchers of negativity, call them frenemies, critics, or family members still chained to old patterns, immediately snapped to attention. They guessed you'd come crawling back. They took bets on your downfall. So for a while you felt the tension, a silent standoff between your longing for freedom and their desire to keep you stuck. Yet ironically, their opposition only clarified your path. Each condescending smirk or scornful rumor reminded you that you had to fully commit to your transformation. Half steps wouldn't suffice. If you were to rewrite your script, you had to own it completely. And that's exactly what you did. You started small, with positive affirmations, disciplined routines, and stepping away from negative talk. Soon these micro changes blossomed into a new persona. Confident in your calling, unwavering in your standards. You grew more comfortable occupying the space your watchers insisted wasn't yours. And then the message came. The shocking revelation that those who once belittled you have finally learned who you really are, or rather what you carry. They now realize you've gained unstoppable momentum. Word spread like wildfire that you overcame the sabotage attempts and soared past every trap. Suddenly, they reeled in stunned silence, forced to acknowledge that the trajectory of your life no longer fits the old mold. They realize the intangible power you hold, the power that led you to heal yourself and defy their low expectations. Now you sense them gathering in hushed circles, exchanging awkward glances. They receive the message from a swirl of sources, maybe a direct spiritual revelation, a dream, or painful evidence of their own failure to contain you. They keep asking among themselves, how on earth did they break out so decisively? Who sent them that unstoppable favor? In reality, it was your watchers, your cosmic backup, orchestrating scenes behind the veil to confirm you're not only unbreakable, but divinely sealed against sabotage. Their shock is your liberation. It severs the final tie of self-doubt, the leftover question, what is there right about me? That question dies the instant you see them scurry to revise their story. If anything, you pity them, not in a condescending way, but with the compassion that arises when you see others bound by illusions you shattered. You can almost feel their trembling. This changes everything. Indeed, it does. And the best part? This is only the dawn of your ascension. You've just begun to reveal the unstoppable wave you've always carried within. You left their shadows behind, and it's not your fault they never realized how bright you'd shine when you stepped into your rightful light. Chapter 2. You refused to cave under their backhanded attacks. They thought they could break you with subtle jabs, comments disguised as jokes, eye rolls when you shared your dreams, or even claims that your ambitions were too far-fetched. Yes, you felt every barb. Some nights you cried. Other nights you quietly replayed their words, wondering if they saw something you missed. But somewhere along the line, you realized these attacks weren't revelations of your lack. They were reflections of their fear. That switch in perspective changed the game. Their negativity lost its sting because you saw it for what it was, an attempt to sabotage the unstoppable spirit that made them uncomfortable. Make no mistake, these jabs weren't random. They recognized something potent in you, a force itching to reshape your destiny. Insecure souls often try to stifle potential greatness. They sniff out that unstoppable essence in chosen ones, sometimes unconsciously, then lash out to keep you from fully manifesting it. So each dig, each insinuation that you'd fail, was a coded message. Don't you dare surpass what we can handle. Yet surpass them you did. Inch by inch, you forged the mental resilience that refused to let their disapproval define you. Their backhanded attacks escalated, perhaps in cunning ways. Maybe they started telling others you were unstable or delusional, so that you'd lose support. You nearly stumbled when trusted allies repeated the rumors, but you gathered your will. Something told you to keep your heart open, but your boundaries firm. You recognized that not everyone was out to harm you, but the ones who were needed a clear line. So you distilled your circle to a handful of genuine supporters. This move baffled your aggressors, who expected you to flounder alone. Instead, you found deeper alliances, forging a fortress of authenticity around you. As the pressure mounted, you learned to draw on prayer or spiritual alignments. The Watchers strengthened you from behind the scenes. You might have awakened each day with a new measure of grace, a fresh insight that lets you counter a cunning scheme. While the aggressors repeated their old tactics, you adapted daily, seeing them coming from miles away. You grew in stealth and wisdom, discovering that half the battle was not engaging in their drama, letting their negativity fizzle in the vacuum of your refusal to stoop. Eventually, you realized that the repeated attempts to hamper you were growing sloppy. They'd run out of fresh strategies. Ironically, every attempt to sabotage you ended up fueling your resolve, sharpening your discernment. You handled stress with a grace you never believed possible. The Watchers likely smirked from above, for they recognized that your trials were forging a luminous diamond where your enemies expected you to collapse. Yet you rose with a clarity that left them unsettled. One day, perhaps recently, you noticed something unusual. Their attacks had stopped, not by their choice but by a forced retreat. The Watchers, or cosmic laws, slammed the door. Your oppressors found themselves too bogged down by their own chaos to keep up their illusions. Or they discovered you had soared too high, too quickly for them to keep pace. They retreated in stunned silence, forced to concede that you had maneuvered past every trick they fired. You refused to cave. And that, ironically, sealed their shock, because they never, in their wildest projections, expected you to persist with that unbroken spirit. Yet you did, leaving them no choice but to watch as your unstoppable wave rolled on, unimpeded by the debris of their stunted illusions. Chapter 3. You saw past the scripts others tried to write for you. They tried to define you, the naive one, the reckless dreamer, or the rebel doomed to self-destruct. Some even pegged you as the family underachiever, believing you'd prove them right by staying small forever. For a while, you might have internalized their lines, allowing doubt to gnaw at you. Yet in stolen moments, you sensed those scripts were illusions, shaped by people whose vision never reached beyond safe boundaries. You realized no one had the power to finalize your narrative but you, and the divine Watchers guiding your path. Of course, ripping up those scripts caused tension. Those who preferred you in a lesser role resisted your transformation. When you started living your truth, they reacted with disapproval or subtle sabotage. But each pushback only confirmed you were on the right track. Rejection from old circles signaled that you had outgrown the roles they forced on you. The Watchers stood firm behind you, fueling your courage to say, "This isn't who I am." And once illusions lost their grip, your potential soared, revealing aspects of you they never considered possible. Some Watchers, unsettled by your shift, still can't fathom how quickly you broke free. Yet every heartbreak you survived became a stepping stone. Each misstep, a lesson, was forging you into someone illusions couldn't restrain. You realized mistakes weren't final verdicts. They were training. Over time, you refined your discernment, recognized manipulative dynamics, and reclaimed the energy once siphoned by others. Freed from illusions, you harnessed synergy, Cosmic help that aligned events, resources, and mentors exactly when you were ready. Now people stare in awe as you shatter expectations. They wonder how you transform so fast or question if it's real. But they can't see the private battles, the nights you wrestled with self-doubt, the tears that cleansed old labels. Nor do they realize how the Watchers orchestrated subtle nudges, shaping your environment to catalyze your growth. All they know is your unstoppable stance leaves them scrambling for a new narrative, since the one they wrote no longer fits. Standing here, you remain neither resentful nor smug. You simply embody the truth illusions tried to hide. You are more than any label, stronger than any doubter, and freer than any box they attempted to trap you in. The Watchers smile, seeing your unstoppable wave rewriting the final lines of a story you alone can author. No script they propose could contain your destiny. You continue forward, letting each day prove that illusions overshadow nothing when faced with the chosen soul who dares to pen their own mythic path. Chapter 4. You mastered the art of integration, embracing both light and dark within. One reason your sudden emergence left onlookers in shock is how seamlessly you embody both light and dark energies. Many try to stay purely good, or they lean on cynicism, but you've learned each side holds value. Early on, maybe you believed you had to be endlessly kind to deserve blessings, or you fell into bitterness when old wounds overshadowed you. Your real power lay in merging both. You were kind, yet not naive, forgiving, yet not a doormat, open-hearted, yet fiercely protective when needed. That balance unsettles those who expect you to fit into one tidy box. Your Watchers likely guided you through scenarios, testing each polarity. Perhaps you endured betrayal that forced you to tap into righteous anger, learning you could guard your well-being without sacrificing compassion. Another time, a broken soul approached you, prompting a merciful response, only possible if you weren't chained by grudges. Over time, you saw you're not defined solely by warmth or toughness, but by a synergy of both. Light fuels your generosity. Darkness strengthens your boundaries and resolve. This duality grants you an edge many struggle to comprehend. In daily life, integration looks like calmly confronting guilt trippers, offering empathy while still holding the line. It means using your past hurts to lend depth to your art or leadership, combining the optimism of light with the grit of dark. Such fluidity makes illusions useless. No single tactic can corner you. People expecting docility find unexpected steel, while those expecting a cold front encounter genuine kindness. Hence they're rattled. They can't label you as a mere softy or tyrant. You move freely between both modes, unbound by shallow roles. This confounds illusions, making you truly unstoppable. If hostility arises, you can stand firm with that dark protective force. If an ally or sincere seeker appears, you radiate acceptance from your light aspect. This unpredictability protects you from any single approach. Your Watchers rejoice in your mastery. You play all notes of the cosmic symphony, gentle flutes and thunderous drums alike. Each well-timed shift cements your unstoppable wave. The universe pours more resources into your life, trusting you to wield them responsibly. Meanwhile, those hoping to exploit a one-dimensional person can't predict your next move. Uncertainty breaks their plan. Ultimately, illusions fail when confronting a soul who owns every part of themselves. There's no internal conflict for an enemy to hijack. If sabotage surfaces, you balance mercy with firm lines. This synergy proves you can handle bigger blessings. The Watchers throw open doors once out of reach, and the integrated you strides forward, turning heads and earning respect. Harnessing both light and dark, you've transcended mere mortal potential to claim the unstoppable reality destined for a chosen one. Chapter 5. You shine a beacon that forces enemies to rethink their plans. By simply showing up as your authentic, integrated self, you radiate an undeniable beacon. Those who thrived on illusions, expecting a timid soul they could control, suddenly find themselves scrambling. Their usual playbook, intimidation, cunning, or manipulative hints, falls flat in your calm, unwavering presence. It's not that you fear threats, you just stand in truth, backed by watchers who amplify your untouchable energy. You often see them pause mid-sentence, their lies or half-truths tripping under your steady gaze. Something in your demeanor says, I see you and you cannot reshape me. That clarity defies illusions, forcing these would-be enemies to pivot. Some try to recast themselves as friends, pretending their agenda was never hostile. You let them speak, while maintaining a quiet understanding that illusions can't take root if you refuse to feed them fear or doubt. Interestingly, a few adversaries may shift into a kind of cautious respect, seeing that direct opposition gets them nowhere. They hover in neutrality, perhaps waiting for you to fail. But each day you prove otherwise, consistently upholding your mission. Sometimes they reach out with timid curiosity, unsure whether they can still manipulate you. That's your chance to respond with wisdom. You hold no vengeful grudge, but neither do you open the gates wide if they haven't changed. If they're honest about shedding negativity, you offer a path to honest dialogue. If not, you subtly block further illusions. This strength you embody also draws observers on the sidelines. People not exactly enemies, yet not close friends. They witness you handling illusions with grace, thriving in spaces that once devoured lesser convictions. It stirs something in them, a possibility they hadn't considered. They may not jump to align with you immediately, but seeds are planted in the spiritual realm. A chosen one standing firm can quietly spark awakenings in those who only half believed in transformation. Your adversaries long relied on fear to shape narratives, but you dismantle fear with unshakable faith. Each morning, you rise. Watchers reinforce your unstoppable wave, fueling your dedication to your calling. Tests come, but illusions bounce off, leaving your adversaries baffled at how they can't pierce your stance. Over time, they recognize a force beyond mortal cunning protects you. God or cosmic synergy, they realize controlling you is impossible. Illusions crumble in the face of your integrated strength. Thus, you're not just winning personal struggles, you're recalibrating the spiritual battlefield itself. You prove illusions collapse when confronted by a soul rooted in divine love and unwavering discernment. Would-be enemies are forced to rethink their strategies, seeing that illusions no longer grip your domain. In so doing, you transform an entire environment, shining as a living testament to a brilliance that defies manipulation. A brilliance watchers fully endorse, ensuring illusions lose their last foothold in your reality. Chapter 6. You inherit the spoils of a war fought in secret. All those hidden battles, dark nights, resisting sabotage, psychic storms no one else saw, culminate in a grand payoff. People may call it sudden luck, but you know it's the fruit of a war fought where illusions couldn't thrive. Your watchers saw each moment you stood firm, refusing to concede to negativity. Now you reap the spoils. Some blessings are tangible, improved finances, thriving relationships, or bursts of creativity. Others are intangible but equally priceless. A honed intuition, steadier emotions, a radiant aura that attracts new opportunities. This isn't random. After your repeated stands against discouragement, the watchers deem you capable of more influence, more resources, more spiritual authority. God invests in proven vessels, and you've proven your mettle repeatedly. Observers might wonder how you rose so quickly. They see a new home, sense your daily calm, or notice your business flourishing. If you told them about unseen battles, nights of wrestling with intrusive thoughts, days blocking manipulative illusions, some would laugh. So you let the results speak. Those with insight realize you earned a crown in invisible wars, forging your destiny when none were watching. The volume of reward can feel overwhelming. Multiple doors fling open, each offering expansions you once only dreamed about. A flicker of anxiety might arise. Am I ready for all this? But your watchers gently remind you, you're never alone. Support flows from your spiritual allies, newly gained partnerships, and the discipline you refined under pressure. It's a lot, but after your trials, you deserve a bounty unimpeded. Some who doubted or attacked you might now try to attach themselves to your success. Discern carefully. If they've truly changed, cautious trust can grow. If they remain cunning, keep your distance. These blessings belong first to your mission, not to opportunists. It's time to discern between sincere reconciliation and letting toxic influences slip back in. Ultimately, inheriting these spoils isn't mere personal gain. It's a shift in your lineage, overturning generational curses, planting blessings for decades. It's cosmic justice, orchestrated by watchers who saw your quiet battles. While some label you lucky, you know better. Genuine luck pales before a destiny crafted under divine vigilance. You hold these rewards humbly, recognizing that your unstoppable momentum isn't just for you. It's a beacon for others longing to rise. You stand as proof that the universe never forgets faithful warriors, rewarding them with spoils beyond mortal comprehension. Imagination Chapter 7. You stand firm at the threshold of an even greater horizon. You've already stunned your doubters by revealing who you truly are. You've integrated both light and shadow, claimed the spoils of hidden struggles, and emerged standing on a platform that once felt unimaginable. Yet deep in your spirit, you sense this isn't your final peak. A hush whispers, there's more to come. The watchers confirm it. You're just beginning a new phase. Each victory reveals an even broader horizon, urging you onward into missions you barely dared envision. A mix of gratitude and restlessness stirs within. Yes, you're thankful. This reality is far from the illusions you once suffocated under. But the watchers hint at larger goals. Maybe leading a cause, writing a life-changing book, or taking a public role you once feared. If the thought unsettles you, recall that you've already bested illusions far scarier. The unstoppable momentum that carried you here can propel you further still. Your circle may shift again. Some who fit your journey at your first breakthrough might not mesh with your new frontier. That isn't betrayal, it's growth. Each departure creates room for new allies aligned with your advanced calling. Trust the Watcher's orchestration. You've learned not to cling to comfort zones if you aim for higher peaks. Of course, some will try to talk you out of further expansion, suggesting you've achieved enough. But in chosen ones, a blueprint resists settling. You weren't built to plateau. You feel an inner push to keep evolving until your cosmic design fully manifests. If your spirit craves the next leap, take it as a divine nudge. The universe seldom invests in half measures. Naturally, new horizons bring fresh resistance, gatekeepers who might challenge your worth. Yet past battles equip you well. You've seen illusions shatter under truth. You know your watchers are ready to shield you from sabotage. You understand how to stay centered, even if adversity rears its head. Growth has outstripped fear's manipulations. So you approach this next chapter with unapologetic expectancy. Others might call it arrogance. You recognize it as rightful dominion. The watchers watch with delight as you claim the next round of ascension. Meanwhile, those who once labeled you at your apex realize that was only the opening act. Indeed, you press on, guided by the watchers and anchored in your purpose, building a legacy that cannot be undone. Standing at this threshold, you smile at the future. If they thought your last triumph was stunning, they haven't seen anything yet.